So this week I'm going to do like a quick update on what I've done up to date, and a quick 5 minutes about me, because a few people have asked questions about, you know, who I am, etc. And I've not really gone into it. So I think let's just start from the beginning. So in 1971 in Bristol, I was born, Stuart John Carter Smith. And then she said, "What a good baby you are, my goodness." And then I started shaving, so you know, and then I realised my biggest danger from golf around the sort of 13 mark was girls. You know, I'm very at 14, I became the captain of my junior team at my local club, which was Tracy Park. At 16, I played for my county, which was Gloucestershire, and then turned pro, and quickly ended up working in a pro shop and teaching lessons. And I turned amateur after that. I started playing music professionally, and I started a music festival, which this year is in its 18th year. I got really busy with the band, and we did this huge tour that was going to be only a couple of months, but ended up 2 years long. And we went all over the world and all around this country, and I just didn't play golf at all for about 4 years, having had such a really good season. Just one thing led to another, and I just kind of stopped playing for that time. And then we decided to take a bit of a break, and so I just kind of joined a local golf course and got the bug back again, and that was 2 seasons ago. So then I followed that up from that section. I was playing, I went from scratch up to 1.4, so nearly 2, and I just thought I was getting a bit older, you know. I'm 47, and maybe I was just going to creep up, and that was the end of it. I mean, I was hitting the ball really quite well, and I was swinging the club fairly well, and I just didn't know whether I kind of just getting older, because I've never been 47 before. You know, I can only remember being about 25. But so then I worked with my coaches, and I worked really hard on trying to get things consistent, and there was a lot of kind of a couple of tweaks in my swing, which were settling down at that time. And then I had that whole season of playing away, so my confidence was down because I was playing a lot of away courses, because I was still working on the weekend in the band, and so I could only actually play Monday to Friday. Well, the only things really you can play in Monday to Friday, apart from some midweek medals at your golf course, are the really low amateur events, which you had to be scratched to get into. And so I did a full season of playing in those, and the confidence was kind of going down. I was striking it okay, I just wasn't scoring very well. I was a bit disappointed, and think, you know, was just kind of, my handicap was steadily working up, because if you play in a 72-hole event and, you know, you off scratch you go round on a course that you don't know in 2 over a round, you know, it's not too bad golf, you know. That's you know, obviously 8 over for the 4 rounds, but that's good enough to go up 0.4. So you can do the maths, and before you know it, you zoom out of being off scratch, and then you're off 1 quite easily, and then working your way out. So and then you can't get in the tournaments anymore, because the scratch is the level that you've got to be at. So it makes it really quite difficult to get your confidence back. So then I couldn't play in anything, and so last season I made a decision to just stay locally to the courses that I knew. I played a few times away. I think I was had a nice couple under par around the 2010 at Celtic Manor, which was, you know, that was really good. I got cut well for that one, because I think the standard scratch is about 4 over for that one. And that was really the start of it. I changed putters. I went from a ping answer that I'd had since as long as I can remember. I've had it for 35 years. and I've always been a strong putter, but I changed the grip to a fatter grip and I cut it down a bit shorter. I had no idea why, I just thought that was a good idea. I got one of those super straight grips, the fatter ones. I think I saw Jordan Spieth using one, and he's a pretty good putter, so I thought what I'll do is I'll get one of those and then I'll putt really well. Terrible, ruined the weight of the putter. I hated the way the grip felt, and I didn't realise as my putting got worse and worse. I was sort of 36 to plus putts around, which is off like 1 or 2. That's really not good enough. You can't give those shots away. So then I changed over to another ping putter, more of a mallet headed putter, and I had been working on my stroke with my coach, and all of a sudden I just seemed quite confident again, and I started rolling them in, and everything clicked into place very quickly, to be honest. I just started to break par, and that was it really. So all this season I've played really well actually. So I came down to just about +1 from 2, and I did that in about 9 tournaments. I think I was like 20 something under par for the tournaments that I played the last stretch of this season, and suddenly I thought, yeah, I can play golf again, or I can play golf as well as I hope to or have done. And to be honest, I'm playing better golf now than I ever have. Hitting the ball better. I think technology makes a bit of difference. I'm hitting the ball a lot further, and you know, everything seems to be pretty sharp. You know, I'm hitting a lot more greens than I used to. I think even in like my prime, I would be a kind of a 12 or 13 greens hit per round. I've had quite a few times where I've hit 17 and 18 greens, and so that makes a huge difference, you know. So that pretty much kind of brings me up to today, and you know, how I'm playing right now going into this winter. Hello. There was a bit of one. It was more going the other way. It's just some temporary bits. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I'm playing better now than I ever have. I feel really confident about my game. I feel like I can push on and get the handicap even lower. And so, you know, I feel pretty good about it. So, you know, for all the older guys out there, you know, it's worth trying. It's worth making an effort. It's worth being as good as you can be. And that does come with practice. You know, it comes with working on your game, thinking about your game. You know, it's nice to go out with the boys and play. And I do like practicing, but I don't think it is everything, the key to everything. You know, if you're absolutely fine-tuning or you're changing your swing, it's not quite important. But it is absolutely crucial before every round to go and warm up. And quite a lot of people don't do that. They go in the nets and hit a few shots and then they're on to the first tee. Well, your damage mentally and to your rhythm and your swing can get ruined instantly on the first few holes if you drop into the wrong groove, etc. When you're a better player, you can kind of self-fix, so you get out there and you sort of tinker around and you find something, and then you can maintain that and get it back on track. But if you don't have that experience or that technique, then there's a chance you won't get it for that whole round. So one bit of advice is do get on the range before you go out on the course. Even if you're playing with some buddies, just hit 50 balls, you know, or 25 balls, just something just to give you a loose up. Hit one of each of your clubs, perhaps, you know, maybe have a little routine where you hit 3 wedges and 3 8-irons and 3 6-irons and 3 4-irons and a couple of drivers, a couple of putts, a couple of chips, and then you're done. You know, you're off, you're ready to go. And that makes a huge difference, because you can imagine if you go out on the course and you hit a bad tee shot on the first, well, you might have a par 3 on the second and maybe a short shot on the third. You might not hit another driver then until maybe the 5th hole, in which case you've got no chance of repairing the damage you've done on the first through a really rusty, you know, bad swing with no turn and no rhythm. So you can imagine those things are key for your mental, your confidence, and your welfare of your kind of the state of mind. And that I think that's really crucial. But other than that, I mean, you can work on your swing and you can try and do your best to find what your weaknesses are. Sometimes they're hard to look at. Sometimes they're hard to think to yourself, oh, am I really not very good at that area of my game? Because perhaps it is putting, and perhaps you don't enjoy practice putting, but it makes massive differences if you can find out what your weakness is and just work on that weakness. So, you know, I would say to anybody getting a bit older, just keep going, be as good as you can be this year. You know, it's like taking every shot at a time. Try and be as good as you can be right now, because it is enjoyable. I mean, it's not all about just getting better and better and better. You know, it's about kind of managing your game and enjoying the aspects of the game, and knowing what you enjoy, and just trying to improve every small aspect. Because sometimes shooting a low score, perhaps it's actually better to hit that lovely shot under that pressure that you've been working on, and that will be the highlight of that whole round. So, you know, there's loads of different sort of happy moments in a round of golf, which is, you know, I think is everything. It's why we keep going back every time. So, coaches and weekly routine. I've kind of gone over a little bit of it, but I do try and get to the range sort of 4 days a week and do at least maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours practice on the range. And I try and play some holes every day and play 18 holes sort of 3 days a week if I can, because I generally don't do too much golf through the weekend because I do work. I'm off you know, playing guitar in a band, etc. So that's my routine really. My coaches, I've got quite a lot of coaches, because I've kind of got coaches that are very close friends and that know me and know my swing very well, so they kind of all work very well together. I think in episode whatever it was, I'll put a link up there somewhere, I've got Tom Motley, which I've been working with. Now Tom I grew up with. He was a junior player at the club when I was a pretty low handicap. I think I was probably 1 or 2 at the time, and he's then gone to be an elite coach, so he's helped me a lot with a couple of aspects of my game. I've got Tim Hall at Rosslyn Golf Club. I'll link Tim, it's somewhere in the description. He is very good for a lot of different aspects, because he knows my swing pretty well, he knows my character, my personality, so he kind of worked on, especially when I came back out of the 4 years off, he was the first person to get his hands on me, so a lot of the good work done early on, the sort of foundation, if you like, of where I am now was mainly Tim's input and efforts, and he still helps me now, which is really good. And he's got all the kit as well, which is quite good, and lives very close to my house, so it's an easy whip down there and back. I've also got a very close friend who I've played with for years and years, who's also a golf pro in Denmark. And his name is Gary Hineshaw. He does a lot of kind of remote work with me, so I will send swings to him in mid-season, and he will tinker from afar. He's always had a good, you know, a really good eye as far as like symmetry and weight distribution for the golf swing, and he always spots my bad shots before I hit them, if you kind of know what I mean. So Gary's helped me a lot, and I try and physically get together with Gary at least twice a year. Sort of pre-season, winter time is quite good, but throughout the season as well, he's checking out swings, and I give him feedback from what the other coaches have said, and we kind of all work together, you know. And my putting is Ollie Lee. I'll link his video up here somewhere. It'll probably come up wherever it will come up, and he is a great not only putting coach, technique wise, but also a kind of a mental coach in the putting side of things. He's amazing for giving you drills and keep you practicing on your putting. So he is a really good man and helped me a lot. I think he's improved my stroke an awful lot, particularly when I switched over putters and everything clicked into place. It felt like the stability was there to be able to improve my putting even further on. So I continue to work with Ollie, and he's also a good friend and lives very close, so that's always handy. You should all have a coach out there, even if you just see him or her 3 times a year, 4 times a year, or every month. You know, it is important to have somebody that understands your strengths and weaknesses, and how to structure kind of drills and routines to support what you've got and develop it even further. My future goals coming up, I'm going to set some pretty big ones here, which is a bit worrying because it's going to go on this channel. But next season I want to get to +2. I think it's yeah, very reachable. and if I can get to a strong +2, I can pretty much... I would like to do that before 2020, because 2020 the handicap changes, and I've got a feeling that everything handicap-wise is going to go out the window, because it's a very different structure. I've tried to look into it for you guys to try and give you some tips on how it's going to change, but it's very difficult to unfold, and I've even sent messages to the RNA and all kinds, but no luck as yet as to how it's going to work. But it's going to be more like the American system, and I think it's along the lines of your best 8 rounds in, say, the last 20 will be an indication of what your handicap will be, which is great for people who are off 28 and they're coming down rapidly, and they're almost embarrassed because they're sort of playing to about 12 and yet they're given a 28 handicap, and it's just like really embarrassing, A, being off such a high handicap at that time, but B, being a lot better than it, you know. So that's quite good. I think a lot of people will be lower, but if it does roll into the category 1 players, which is where I am, that will be very weird, because I mean, my last 8 rounds out of my last 20, I'll be off, crikey, I'll be off about +7 or something, you know. I mean, it'll be ridiculous, and that's the lowest handicap anybody's ever had in history. So, and I'm definitely not the best amateur ever in history, so that's going to be a very difficult one, and I'm not sure how they're going to do it. Whether the category 1 players are going to be in a different league of their own, which often does happen. It gets run by a county, a different organisation, and so I don't know. I don't know about that, but I would like to get to at least +2 by the time that comes in. And like I've said, I'm 47, so I aim to maybe... I'd like to qualify to get on the seniors tour, the Stewarts tour. I know it's a long shot, because I don't really know, but if you look at the Stewarts thing, there's an interview with a chap who knew all about it. But I think it's only 2 out of about 70 people, and you've got to qualify to get in, and it's a very difficult task to get in there. But you know, you've got to make goals and you've got to go for these things, so that'll be one to have a look at. I've got 3 years to prepare, I've got to stay fit and healthy, and that's the plan. We'll see, but you know, we'll go from there, and you'll soon see it all, warts and all, on this channel. So yeah, we'll see how we go. So I hope you've enjoyed this little update. I'm looking forward to doing the content next week from California. So that's going to be rolling out over the next probably 4 or 5 weeks, because I've got 4 courses to play at, and I've got some reviews to do. So I'm looking forward to doing all that. Hopefully you're going to enjoy the content. And any messages, put them in the link below. Maybe give me some ideas of some things to do in the future, because I'm always looking for interesting content. Maybe I'll come to your course and play with you guys. So just leave me a comment and a link, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.